it's not enough to know what you want. You have to do what you want, to be what you want. I write things that I feel, and then when the books are out, people identify themselves. You know, it took me years. I knew that I want to be a writer since I was young and have these megalomaniac things about being the most famous writer in the world. But it's not enough to know what you want. You have to do what you want, to be what you want. You know, so a writer implies in writing books.
Yeah.
A gardener implies in gardens. You know, but if you, I don't know about today, but if you talk to your father, your mother, if you are from a middle class, I want to be a gardener. Your father says, oh my son, please go to the university.
Yeah.
Get a diploma, and you can do your gardening during the weekend, you know, but you love plants. You love the soil, you love, you know, but at the end of the day, you are convinced. And this is not good for the person who is being convinced and for the person who is trying to convince. You are creating this aura of frustration around them.
Your background is fairly well documented, that the things you went through which have shaped you, how much of that is really behind you, or how much do those ghosts still haunt you? The involvement in you know, issues that got you imprisoned and tortured, and you know, the drug use and so on.
I am myself and my circumstance. I think that, like a Spanish philosopher used, so who am I? I am a sum of all the experiences that I lived in my life. That said, of course, I don't look back, because if I look back, I may become a sort of salt. So I try to live my life here, but it is the sum of difficult moments, good moments, well, experiences that I had in my life that brought me here in front of this camera talking to you. You don't live life in this capitalistic sense that you accumulate knowledge as you accumulate money. No. Life is about the present moment, and you're here now, and then you have an idea or you have something, but that may be a root in your past, but you don't know. So what I try to do is to live my life as full, as intensely as I can.
You're one of the world's most widely read authors, but you're more than just a writer. You know, you've become something of a spiritual icon. How do you regard yourself nowadays?
I would totally disagree with you. I'm not a spiritual master or anything. I am someone who is, well, walking through this life and learning at the same time. What I do is to share my experience, because I think life is about sharing. So in this case, I write things that I feel, and then when the books are out, people identify themselves with my books, but not with my answers, mostly with my questions.
Well, that's it. I know you've said that you have nothing to teach, but you have something to share. But it must put some pressure on you when people are looking for answers. Obviously, you're touching something that people are missing in their lives.
Do you believe so? Well, I don't know. I think that when I write a book, I'm trying to understand myself, because it's not easy to understand yourself unless you share, as I said, with someone else. So when I see it, I have no clear idea what I'm going to write about. Sometimes it is a totally unknown part of me who does it. So we get inspiration. Inspiration meaning getting things from outside to inside. So my books mostly, they try to share to myself, who am I? Because I'm the constant process of discovering myself. When you're a child, you think that only you exist.
Right.
And one day I was by a orange tree, and I had the sensation that I was alive. Do you remember the day that you realized that you were alive?
No, I don't remember the day.
But I remember. So.
I wish I did, but okay.
Sorry, but that is, my God, I'm alive. Not only I am alive, but I'm not the center of the universe. And then I realized that I was alive, and there was a lot of things going on outside my childish world. Mm-hmm. And so I said, I'm going to pay attention to what is going on. And this is how I survive it. I think that you have to take risks all the time. If you don't do that, you don't move forward. We are trying to be too conservative in the way that you think life. And the result is that nobody voices out to say, I don't agree with this, I agree with that. So we have to push somehow our individuality to make sure that our voice can be heard. My personal legend was always to be a writer, and finding your personal legend does not mean fulfilling your personal legend, because being a writer means writing books. I cannot just sit and say, okay, I'm a writer. So you write your first book, it may or not be successful, then there's the next one, there's the third one, and all of a sudden you realize that your books are doing very well, and you fear success. You have this moment that you think, oh my God, should I write the next book? Do I need to be judged again by the critics, etc.? And then you realize that your personal legend is about moving on. Go, if you had a dream of becoming a writer, write books. Don't be paralyzed by either success or failure. So I'm in the process. I'm on the journey of my personal legend. Not to fulfill it, but to live it as full, as intensely as I can. I fought against all odds. There is no tradition of a Brazilian writer to be translated. There is no tradition of being published. I'm published now, I think, in 56 languages, which is very impressive. So, for example, only in India I'm publishing 80 different languages. In Spain I'm publishing in 4 different languages. So I could never ever dream. I don't imagine myself sitting in my apartment in Rio de Janeiro and saying, oh, I want to be such a successful writer, and people had to read my book. Because at the end of the day, who promotes the book is the reader. Why did my book travel so well to such different places like Iran and Israel? My highest readership per capita is Iran and Israel. They have 4.5, every 4.5 house in these 2 countries. They have at least one book of mine. So there is no recipe. From the moment that you try to find a recipe, I think you are lost, because you lose the most important thing in you, that it is your spontaneity. I would also like to use the word innocence. Not innocence in the sense of being naive, but innocence in the sense of being open or seeing everything as a child and be amazed and surprised and enjoying, discovering life every single day. You are here to honor something called the miracle of life. You can be here to fulfill your hours and days with something that it is meaningless. Yeah. But you know that you have a reason to be here. It is the only thing that gives you enthusiasm.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And you know when you are betraying your personal legend, when you are doing something without enthusiasm. Yeah. And worse, you know that you have this good excuse. I'm not ready, which is just an excuse. No, you say, no, I'm not ready. I have to wait for the right moment. You know, now I have to feed my family. Come on, your family wants to see you happy.
Yes.
Your daughter, your husband, your wife, they don't want to see you there sitting in a work that you hate.
Right.
Even if it gives you tons of money. When my first book, The Alchemist, started being successful, I was already 42. So I was mature enough to learn that everything is a gift, and you have to treasure and respect it as a gift, and not to be crazy because you're successful. So I had, before that huge success, times, very difficult times, and I learned a lot about it.